How can you prove a change of circumstances in a petition to modify custody? Well, my name is Akiva Goldman. I'm the director and founder of Goldman & Associates. Our firm has a primary focus on family law issues here in Michigan. And today we're going to continue our video series designed to educate and inform the public, so please subscribe to our channel. How do you prove a change of circumstances? Well, in order for the change of circumstances to be of the nature where the court is going to reconsider custody, it's going to have to be a big change. The bigger the change, the easier it is to prove. So for example, if you want to say that your child is no longer thriving in school and therefore custody needs to be changed. If your child's averages have gone from an A- to a B+, it's a rather small change. It's going to be hard to prove such a small change. But if your child's school average has gone from an A- to a D+, that's a big change. And it'll be easier to prove that by showing the court the scholastic records, by showing to the court the reports for the last year of what the teachers have said, what is going on. And you could say, hey, there's a big change in circumstances here. The kid clearly needs more supervision at home with respect to homework and all these other things. It's a big difference. Similarly, let's say there's a medical condition. If you want to say that, your child is not thriving in terms of personal health because there's been a weight loss, the child was 120 pounds, now the child's 117, good luck convincing the court that that is a reason to change custody on a nutritional basis. But if your child has gone from 120 pounds to 90 pounds in the last year, and the doctors are saying this kid is malnourished, you'll be able to come before the court with medical records, with physical evidence, and show the court there's a huge change in circumstances. The court has to take it into account. So when you talk about proving a change in circumstances, you're going to want to prove if it's a medical thing, you're going to bring medical records, affidavits from physicians, affidavits from the school personnel. If it's about scholastics, you're going to want to bring in report cards and progress reports and other things that show the significant change in circumstances. The court doesn't write its orders on Monday so that on Tuesday you can change them. That's not what's going on. The court is only going to revisit the possibility of changing an order that it well considered if the change is significant. So a significant change is typically something that's easier to prove. The harder it is to prove, the more likely that you have to ask yourself, well, wait a minute, is this change really significant? And if it is significant, but you can't prove it, then is it something that was going to resonate with the court? You're going to have a discussion with your lawyer, and you're going to have to say, look, I believe there's this change. Let's discuss number one. Is it significant? If so, number two, can I prove it? If the answer to either of those questions is no, then it's probably not the right time to bring the motion. If it's not significant yet, or if it's significant but it can't yet be proven, your lawyer will probably tell you, you know what? I commiserate with you. I see what's going on, but we don't have enough to get the court to revisit this. And the more times we come to court with evidence that falls short, the less likely the court's going to hear us when we have good evidence. So sometimes it's about timing. Sometimes it's about waiting until you can actually prove it. Now, just because you can prove it doesn't necessarily mean the court's going to agree with you. But there's a long game to be played here too. So, for example, if the court is aware that you are repeatedly denied parenting time, it doesn't mean that the court's going to switch custody. But still, it's probably important for your lawyer to be filing motions and show causes and asking the court to hold the person in contempt, to fine them, to consider a change of custody if there's repeated violations. Now, the court may not do it the first time, may not do it the second time, but the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, at some point in time, the court's going to say, you know what? This isn't working. I'm ordering parenting time and you're violating it repeatedly over and over again. I've been lenient with you before. Now I'm switching it around. Now I'm changing custody because this arrangement isn't working. I'm now giving him the custody. You can have the parenting time and we'll see if he complies. And you know what'll probably happen? The guy's been coming before the court, telling the court about the violations. You can bet he's going to comply. So if you're on the other end of that and you're thinking, well, I'll exercise my control. We'll see what happens. And you're laughing at him because the court, didn't take any action. Bear in mind one thing. The court has a long memory. And just because the court didn't sanction you this time doesn't mean they won't next time. And doesn't mean they won't the third time. And you know what? The third time is likely to be 3 times harder of a sanction than the first one would have been. So you got to be very careful about this. Talk to your lawyer, explain the circumstances, and let that lawyer tell you exactly what's in your best interest and how best strategically to play this. If you have any questions about your case, reach out. We'll be glad to help you out.